How's it going? Welcome back, my beautiful sinners, to another great and amazing video. That's right, here with your boy, the Saviour. That's right, guys. Welcome back. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and to like the video. Thank you very much, my sinners. Now, let's get on with the video. Okay, so guys, yes, I have done a lot of research and a lot of studies throughout my time alive on this beautiful, majestical, amazing planet. That's right, guys. And I have tried to narrow down and find the best soundtrack in all of animation, in all of anime. And first, let me just preface by saying I'm not a dirty otaku, okay? I don't watch anime like I used to. I have to come clean, I have to clear my name. Yes, I used to watch a lot of anime when I was a teenager, but luckily now I'm cured, I'm free from that disgusting, dark world of, watching just pretty much anything in anime, okay? Any kind of show, I would give it a go, but most of them were complete garbage, and I started to recognize that, and now I only watch the quality shows that are out there. And yes, believe it or not, if you are not a fan of anime, or you think anime is just for weird people or something like that, well, you're wrong, okay? Because anime can be absolutely amazing, can be the best form of entertainment out there. Believe it or not, there is some amazing shows out there. And guys, I've done a lot of research, and I remember from all those shows that I used to watch as a teenager, and I was thinking, what really made me love anime to begin with was there was a lot of them with such amazing and unique soundtracks, okay? I remember watching ones like Parasite the Maximum, or Tokyo Ghoul, or Another, or Devilman Crybaby, or One Piece, or what was that other really good one? Shiki. Okay, there are a lot of great soundtracks out there in the anime world, and if you do still watch anime, or you have always been watching it, and you continue to watch it, that's fine, okay? I've got nothing against you. I just personally think a lot of it is complete trash, but there are, of course, amazing treasures out there, and, I can list, so many that are amazing, but like I said, the vast majority are complete, just disgusting, weird, and, like this high school romance kind of stuff. That's just not my taste, okay? Fair enough, if you like it, I've got nothing against you. I'm just saying, for me, personally, I really like ones with a really unique art style, and a really good, gripping psychological story, and with a little bit of horror, adult kind of themed, stuff like that, okay? Death Note is another one with a really great soundtrack. So that's what really drew me in to begin with, was just how each one has its own unique art style, and the soundtrack, and the beginnings of each episode, it would give you an opening with a different soundtrack. It was very interesting. There aren't things like that in normal television or in normal movies or anything like that. Anime has a special place out there with, really creative ideas and some wacky stuff, and some really deep, complex, and amazing stories. But today, I'm just going to be talking about the soundtracks, and I've narrowed it down to my top 3 soundtracks out there, and I do believe I have found the best anime soundtrack ever to exist, and this is just my personal opinion, and as a music producer, I think I know what I'm talking about when it comes to great quality music, because I produce great quality music. Isn't that right, guys? But guys, believe it or not, the top one actually was one of my biggest reasons to actually create music, and actually influenced me, and really made me want to see if I could capture something similar to that sound, obviously change it, but it was a big impact. And I think you know what number 1 was, because I'm showing footage of it right now, which I'm sure is going to copyright claim me, but who cares really? I'm just doing this because I really want to talk about the soundtrack. But anyway, guys, enough babble. And number 3, I think, is Another, okay? Another, if you don't know, is this horror type genre of animation, of anime, and it's basically about, yes, it is actually around a high school, believe it or not, which I know is a little bit cliche, but this one had a really unique twist because it wasn't, flamboyant. It was very slow paced. It, took its time, and the story was really mysterious, and the characters were all really interesting, and there was just this overall mysterious feeling of dread around the whole show, and it wasn't exactly a happy ending, and the story was just so great in that show, and the soundtrack was really subtle, but really gave you a great feeling of, tension and build up, and just this creepy, mysterious vibe with, lots of, pads and a lot of, bells and strings and stuff like that, and really eerie kind of music, and I just loved it, guys. It was just an amazing soundtrack. And number 2 is Shiki. Now, Shiki has another special place in my heart, which is all about vampires, but it's not the cliche vampire story. It's a very long anime, actually, for once, which is incredibly rare because most of them are very, very short. This one has like 24 episodes, I believe, and this one was really, really great because it was very slow paced, but each episode it would leave you, wanting more, and you would never know how it was going to end. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but again, it's not exactly the most happy, family-friendly anime out there. It is quite dark, it is quite sad, but that's why I loved it. It had so many different characters, maybe a little bit too many characters in my opinion, but they were all interesting, and my god, the thing that really kept me interested was the soundtrack, believe it or not. This is why it's number 2 for me, because the soundtrack of this was just amazing. It had these beautiful vocals of, like a little girl singing with, this mysterious, again, it was quite a scary, creepy kind of show, but, it had this undertone of mysterious, strings and vocals, and, it also had a lot of piano, which was, really well composed, and I just absolutely loved it. It wasn't really my type of music, like electronic based, but it just did such a great job at building a really scary and mysterious atmosphere, and I just love the music. Each of them are very different, tracks, but they all just bring this emotion of sadness. You get this real sense of sadness because, all I'm gonna say is one of the main characters is a little girl and she's already dead, and you get that feeling of, obviously hating her because she's an evil, disgusting succubus, but at the same time you feel very sad because she died so young, and this, music just captures it so wonderfully, and it's just great. Now guys, at number 1 is of course my all-time favorite soundtrack of anime, is in my opinion the best anime music ever to exist, and it's just the best anime soundtrack ever, and that is Devilman Crybaby. Okay guys, the new one. Obviously there was the OG one, and I do enjoy the OG one as well because it's hilarious, especially if you watch the dubbed version. It's just very, very funny because the voice acting is truly just beautiful, okay? But the soundtrack in the new, and believe it or not, Netflix actually released this, and they usually produce absolute, garbage, but the soundtrack of the new Devilman Crybaby is just next level, sent from God himself or from the devil himself. I don't know who, and honestly, I don't care who sent it because I love them. And I think it was a Japanese composer. I might be wrong, I'm not really sure exactly who composed the music, but the music is just out of this world. Truly amazing, okay? It's this use of very, very dark, heavy synth, and that's what really, made me interested in synth and synthwave genre. Believe it or not, before I watched Devilman Crybaby, which was only, like 18 months ago, or almost 2 years ago actually, before I started the whole Saviour music and my YouTube channel, everything like that, I didn't really know much about synth music. I didn't know anything about synthwave, retrowave, outrun, all these vaporwave, all these different subgenres of music, and Devilman Crybaby had such a unique type of synth-based music that I'd never experienced before, because it was like darkwave mixed in with just dark, heavy synth, and just an electronic, bass to it. It's not like dubstep, which I really don't like. it's just this really unique style of electronic music, and it had amazing vocals. And now I'm a huge sucker for anything, you know, that sounds, I'm not sure what the word is, but you know, like godly music, you know, with a chorus, you know, like you would hear in a church or something like that, something, you know, really dramatic and something religious, you know. And this had the mixture of a really dark synth soundtrack with, you know, like a holy religious vocals, and they would mix together, and it's just truly something amazing. I've listened to the soundtrack so many times, you know, it makes me feel really evil, but in a really good way, because it's just pure, you know, pure, it just captures a pure feeling of this dark energy, and you can really feel the power of Satan. I'm joking, but you know, it's just a really kind of dark type of synth that I never heard before. And the more research I did into it, and the more, you know, research I did, you know, trying to identify the different sounds and then using it in my own music, that's what really gave me the inspiration and, you know, the drive to create and share my own music. And if you don't know, I have published one album, and it was very heavily influenced by Devilman Crybaby, the composer, the soundtrack, which is called Devil's Greed. That's my album. Please go check it out on Spotify. After this album, I'm just basically focusing on, you know, future dystopian synth music, mixing genres together from the electronic, you know, soundtracks, and you know, just not soundtracks, just electronic music. I'm taking different parts from, you know, everything, you know, Outrun, Vaporwave, everything, and mixing them all together, combining them with EDM, dubstep, whatever, you know. I'm just mixing genres together now to make something unique. But for my first album, I really wanted to try and capture the feeling of the Devilman Crybaby soundtrack, because there's nothing else out there like it, and to me, it is the best anime soundtrack of all time, and I just love it so much. And I thank God that I found this show, and I thank God that I listened to the soundtrack, because without listening to the soundtrack, I don't know if I would have made my music. And I'm just really thankful that I did, because this music just kind of awoken something inside of me, you know. It gave me just a vision of something that I wanted to chase. And you know, it's just a very, very powerful soundtrack with the use of heavy bells and, you know, an underlining, you know, pads and, you know, like bass and strings, and it had, you know, just a mixture of all these different elements, and I just fell in love with it straight away. There's nothing else out there like it, and you know, I really feel like I did a good job capturing it and obviously changing it. And you know, obviously I didn't ever use any of the original Devilman soundtrack. I just mean I took the flavor and I made it my own, and you know, that's what really paid off. And guys, that's why I love Devilman Crybaby and the soundtrack, and I just thought I would share that little backstory with you. And I just thought it was an interesting video to talk about the best anime soundtrack or the best anime music. And you know, there are so many different genres out there, and I just wanted to know, guys, what is your favorite soundtrack out there? You know, it can be anything from anime, from movies, from TV shows. Obviously, you know, other things inspired me, like Blade Runner, the soundtrack to that, you know, anything future dystopian, because that's what I want to try and, you know, capture and combat. And yeah, Devilman Crybaby was just it was just the first time I really heard a professional, mainstream, darkwave soundtrack. And yeah, that's, for me, my favorite one. So let me know yours in the comments down below, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to share it around and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Have yourself a blessed day. Peace out, and stay safe, and stay crazy.